to the second installation of the Wernerware video series on developing a simple tile game in Angular 6. In this video, we will cover the basic layout and structure of the app that we created in the last video. So here we are back in IntelliJ, and we last left our application having edited the title of the application in the main page. We changed this H1 tag to contain "This app is going to be great." Unfortunately, what happened was we broke one of our tests. And this brings up one of the great benefits of using the Angular CLI, which is the continuously running unit tests. As I mentioned in the previous video, it's important to keep your unit tests running continuously during development. So that's exactly what's happening here. You see that as this file was saved, we incurred one failure, and it's in this test right here called app component should render title in an H1 tag. And it's going to be in app component TS, or app component spec TS. Here's the test that failed. Should render title in an H1 tag, and it's setting all this stuff up, and then it's doing a query for the H1, and it's comparing the contents to "Welcome to Wernerware tiles." But right now, what it says is "This app is going to be great." So this test fails. So now we can ask ourselves, is this test representing a requirement of our application? And is that requirement a persistent and likely to fail thing that we're going to want to make sure works as long as we're editing the code? In this case, pretty much no. We don't want our application to display this tag because it's just some text that came with the default application. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and delete this test, and we'll give it a save, and then we'll watch the unit tests decrease in number but now pass completely. The next thing we're going to do actually is get rid of all of this boilerplate. We don't need any of it for the app that we're going to be developing, and we're going to replace it with the content that we actually want. So we'll give that a save, and then we'll wait for the tests to execute again. We can head on over to Chrome and see that we got a nice white screen ready for us to add stuff to. I'm going to make a div that contains my content, and it's going to contain an H1 tag that says Wernerware tiles. And I'm going to save that and give it an ID. So ID equals main title. And then I can go ahead and style it. I can say main title Then I'm going to go ahead and paste in a fun little HTML5 styling that I found online. And we can take a look at the result, which is a nicely shadowed text version of the title and a gray background, which we can expand later. So now I'm going to generate the first Angular component for this application. It's going to represent the board that the player uses both to view the action in the game and the board that they use to choose which color they're going to use. But at first, we're only going to have one. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to create a command line, and then we're going to say ng generate component board. And now we have 4 new files created. And if the file system has synced, we will see now the board folder here with our new component files. You can see that these files are read in IntelliJ because they have not been added to Git yet. So what we can do is we can say git add all those files, and we should see them turn green. And we can say git status, and we'll see all the files that we've changed so far. Now if you go to the module type script file, you'll see that our new component is automatically added to the module. Now we can go to the app module and we can add an instance of our board module. We can give that a save, and we can go back to Chrome and check out what happened. We get a notification that our board module works, because you'll see that the default layout for the board module is just a small paragraph tag that contains the word board works. Instead of that, we're going to create a canvas tag with a width and a height. We're going to close that up, we're going to save it, and then we're going to style it. We're going to select the canvas tag with our CSS, and we're going to give it a small border so that we can see it when it's on the screen. We'll give that a save. Make sure our tests are still passing. They're not, but we'll go back to that in a minute. We see our canvas. What's happening here is that our app component spec doesn't know what the board component is. Here it's mentioning that basically over here. It's saying if app board is an Angular component, then verify this part of this module. And by this module in the test, it means this over here. The module that's simulated by test bed. So if we go ahead and add board component to it, and we import that, then we save, we get success again. This is a great point at which to save your work. So let's go ahead and make a commit. Git commit -m. I just made a new component and customized the default app component. So now we have a base on which we can build, and if we need to, we can come back to it. So that brings us to the conclusion of this video, which is just a very quick primer on the basic elements that you're going to see in this app. Please look for future videos to come to show you how we get into the nitty-gritty of making the app become more of what you see in the demonstration from the first video.